thing. Imagine you had the opportunity to go back in time and witness the great Sikh history. And when you compare the facts witnessed versus those documented in books by historians and realize facts are twisted, stories are fabricated, and bias is introduced. With this, I would like to answer my first question. The first question asks, explain the importance of knowing true stories of Guru history that are logical and in line with the message of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. You might ask, what is the message of Guru Granth Sahib Ji? Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji promotes the concept of equality by highlighting the fact that we are made from the same flesh and blood, and we have the same light of Vaheguru with us, soul. The message is try to adapt the way of life as the Gurus did. I would like to highlight few events which of Bibi Bani Ji's life would demonstrate how historians have misconstrued facts. Guru Amar Das Ji was taking a bath. One leg of his bathing stool broke and Bibi Bani Ji put her foot under to provide needed support. The nail pierced her foot and it started bleeding, yet she did not remove it from there. Guruji only realized this after he had completed his bath. He was pleased with this event and stated, Bibi, your service has been accepted by the Almighty. You may ask for any boon. Bibi Bani Ji asked that Guru Amar Das bestowed guruship to her husband. When Guru Amar Das tried to reason with her, historians write, Bibi Bani Ji did not give her feminine perseverance and wanted her wish to be fulfilled at all cost. Now, Sat Sangat Ji, let's apply some logic which would prove how deliberately facts have been twisted by historians. My first fact, as Bibi Bani Ji was always serving Guru Amar Das, did she not check the bathing stool before giving it to him? Sounds a bit strange. My second fact, why would Guru Amar Das Ji use words like Bibi Bani Ji did not give up her feminine insistence? Guru Amar Das Ji disrespecting women. Very illogical, as Guruji raised his voice against the custom of sati, had promoted widow remarriage and persuaded people to shun the custom of parda. How can such a guru disrespect his own daughter like Bibi Bani Ji and be forced in granting a boon against his own conscience? In summation to my first question, Sat Sangat Ji, it is prudent that we take a logical approach in examining stories of Guru history and ensure that there is an alignment with the message of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. The second question asks, is it good enough to just know our history, or is it also necessary to sincerely lead a life according to the guidelines for becoming a good Gursikh? So, Sat Sangat Ji, what is a Gursikh? The word Guru means teacher and Sikh means learner. A Shabad comes to mind which beautifully summarizes that Sikhi is a way of life. Rahu Rahu Gobind Singh Ape Gur Chela Har Sache Takta Chaya Sat Sangat Mela Nanak Nirbon Inkar Vich Siddha Khela Gur Simar Vinai Khalka Khande Ki Vela Peho Paho Khandakar Hoy Janam Suhela Gur Sangat Kini Khalsa Manmukhi Duela Rahu Rahu Gobind Singh Ape Gur Chela. I will attempt to explain the meaning of this glorious Shabad. He is the Guru and the disciple. The Lord created the throne of truth, which the Sat Sangat oversees. Over Nanak, the Lord is fearless and formless. All play in the power of God. Remembering the Vaheguru, we overcome the cycle of birth and death and draw so near to God. Now it is time to take up the sword, drink the Amrit, strengthened by the sword, and you shall be reborn. The Khalsa, the pure ones, belong to the Guru's congregation. Those who do not look in the Guru's teaching are far away. He is the Guru and the disciple. In summation, to my second question, it is not good enough to just know our history and praise about it. It is prudent we understand Sikhism is a way of life. We must adapt to the teaching of our 10 Gurus. Following the path of a Sikhi is like falling in love with your soul and Vaheguru. Following the path of a pure Sikh with humility, love, and dedication will result in peace, happiness, and fulfillment in our lives. My third question, lessons learned from the story of Bhai Tilkaji, and how these lessons help me in becoming a better human being. In the story, we learn that Bhai Tilkaji did not fall for the false pretenses made by the yogi, who was misleading and cheating people by his false and treacherous methods. As a matter of fact, Bhai Tilaka Ji's perseverance and determination on the leading path of Gurmat made the yogi realize that Bhai Tilaka Ji was on a path of righteousness and did not care for heaven or hell and continued to lead lives in accordance to the Shabad Guru. The lessons I have learned from the story of Bhai Tilaka Ji are: first, remain in devotion of the Almighty. Second, peace and solace is obtained by living life in the will of Vaheguru. Third, to cheat another human being is like cheating Vaheguru. And fourth, the leading path of Gurmat will always guide you to do the right thing in line with the Guru Granth Sahib Ji's message. The enlightening knowledge of Gurmat can help me bring revolution in different parts of my life. First, change my thought process. Second, change my spiritual, religious, and social life. And third, improve my sense of wisdom and discrimination. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Crystal Floor. Last but not least, for group 3, we have Rattan Singh.
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। मेरा नाम Rattan Singh है. In the book Selected Episodes from Sikh History Part 3, there were many people of great significance discussed throughout the story. Bibi Bani Ji was a very important woman in the book and how she represents the symbol of service. One popular story mentioned in old chronicles described how devoted she was when serving her father Guru Amar Das Ji, the third Guru. She was very loving and could never cause any harm to anyone. One day, Bibi Bani noticed that one of the legs on the wooden seat on which the Guru sat was about to break. She tried to support the stool to keep him from falling. Suddenly, she started to bleed, and the Guru then realized her act of kindness and gave her his blessings. She was being a good Sikh, which is one of the teachings in the Guru Granth Sahib. Bibi Bani Ji was a very humble and calm individual. Being a good Sikh means many different things, but I think what is important is the journey and learning experience of becoming a good person. It means to be truthful and honest, but you also need to be brave and courageous. All of the Gurus had these traits and is why they stood up for what they believed in. For example, Bhai Mati Das Ji was a faithful follower of the Guru. He remained in a meditative mode with no fear of death at all. The younger Sahibzade were both very strong and brave despite their young age. We should all follow these rules in becoming a good Sikh. In other Sikh teachings, they explain the concept of vanchakna, or sharing with the community, such as donating your time through volunteering, sharing part of your income, and help feeding the less fortunate. There are many lessons I've learned from the story of Bhai Tilaka Ji. Some are sharing, being brave, kind, and honest. These lessons will help me become a better Sikh because I will follow these teachings every day. I will practice until I start doing it regularly. This will help in everyday activities that we all do, such as daily prayers or bhat, and not just reciting them from memory, but understanding their meanings. We can share our belongings with the ones who don't have any, and food could also be donated to our community. Sikhs should also not be afraid of anything that stands in their way. For example, Guru Hargobind and the Sikhs fought in the Battle of Amritsar in 1634. The fighting lasted over 2 days, and the Guru showed signs of bravery and strength. In the end, the Sikh victory destroyed the idea of Mughal power and increased the Guru's support among people in Punjab. And last, being honest. We must all be honest so we can live a good life with no lies. Being honest means always telling the truth and following the Guru's teachings. In the Guru Granth Sahib, it explains that living a life of truth and having respect for others. Bhai Ji Ka Khalsa, Bhai Ji Ki Fateh.
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। काका राजन सिंह का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जिसने अपने स्पीच द्वारा संगत को निहाल किया। इसके नाल ही साडा तीसरे ग्रुप का सिंपोजियम समाप्त होता है। उन्होंने बच्चों की हौसला अफजाई के लिए उन्होंने पेरेंट्स की ते जज साहिबान जिन्होंने अपना कीमती टाइम कढ़ के बच्चों को जज किया, उन्होंने सारे की हौसला अफजाई के लिए जयकारा छड्डिया जाता है। जवाब देने की कृपा कर लीजिए। बोले सो निहाल। मैं चौथे ग्रुप के जो बच्चे हैं उन्होंने सेवा च बेनती करदा कि वो फ्रंट पे आ जान ताकि चौथे ग्रुप का सिंपोजियम शुरू किया जा सके। अंगद सिंह ते जैसी सिंह। अंगद सिंह चौथे ग्रुप की किताब है जी गुरु ग्रंथ साहब द सुप्रीम ट्रेजर। डॉक्टर स्वरूप सिंह की लिखी हुई किताब है। इसके 3 सवालों के जवाब बच्चों तो असीं सीख करते हैं उन्होंने स्पीच के विच। पहला सवाल है व्हाट मेक्स द मैसेज ऑफ श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहब यूनिवर्सल? हाउ शुड यू जस्टिफाई इट टू बी द गाइड टू द एंटायर ह्यूमैनिटी? दूसरा सवाल श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहब रिपीटेडली emphasizes that everything is in Vaheguru's hands and we should accept Vaheguru's hukam similarly, smilingly and willingly. At the same time, there are many places where the fruits of living as a Gurmukh and the problems of living as a Manmukh are discussed. If nothing is in our hands, then how can we determine whether to live as a Gurmukh or a Manmukh? Then the third question is, as explained in the book, Sri Guru Granth Sahib advises us to be good to even those who have been evil to us. How can we justify being good to those who try to harm us, even if we decide not to take the revenge? Should we not at least teach them a lesson so that they are not evil to others? Very difficult questions, but they will be answered by these 2 gentlemen who are coming to speak. So the first speaker of this group is number 2, Jesse Singh. Number 2, Jesse Singh. जे कर रहे हो कोई वॉलंटियर कर लो गेट पे खड़ा हो जाए ते दरवाज़ा जब भी खुलता बड़ी शोर मचदा है और बच्चों का शोर बहुत है। सो कृपा करके सिर्फ 2 स्पीकर और ने ते इन्होंने सुनने की कृपालता करो बड़े प्यार नाल और बड़ी अटेंशन पे करो क्योंकि इम्पोर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट है और सुनने भी बहुत जी करता है। वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह।
गिर प्यारी सात संगत जियो Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My topic is about a marvel in Sikh history, the eternal Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. In the book, The Guru Granth Sahib, a supreme treasure, Dr. Sarup Singh discusses the universal message of the Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which is the spreading of love, truth, and harmony, and how this message can be applied to the entire humanity. The book talks about the universal message and its importance before shifting towards a more wider-ranging perspective, addressing multiple themes and messages that are smaller in level. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji, one of the holy scriptures in Sikh history, was compiled and first installed at Harmandir Sahib, also known as the Golden Temple, in Amritsar, 1604. The book states, by incorporating the sermons and preachings of various saintly figures in the Holy Granth, the Reverend Guru wanted to offer mankind a scripture wholly acceptable to it. The idea behind it was to widen the outlook of the people and make them totally exempt from all geographical, social, and spiritual restraints, so as to be rightly called the offspring of the Timeless One, who is a protector and sustainer of us all. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji has passed down Sikh ideals for generations and has been able to spread positive and loving messages. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji epitomizes the teachings of the Gurus and lives the words, Abdul Allah, Nur Upaya, Kudrat Ke Sab Bande, Ek Nur Te Sab Jag Upjaya, Khan Bale, Khan Mande. The first question asked of us is, what makes the messages of Shri Guru Granth Sahib universal, and how would one be able to justify it to be the guide to the entire humanity? The Guru Granth Sahib Ji contains a significant and universal message of mutual affection and cooperation, common reflection and association, and harmony and goodwill. What makes this message universal is anyone can accept and learn from these truths and messages, and making the application a possibility to everyone. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji is a justifiable guide to humanity because it exceeds caste and creed and does not belong to just the Sikhs alone. In addition to the Guru Granth Sahib Ji spreading a unique message, it does not discriminate, being applicable to all and using the teachings of Sikhs, Hindus, and Muslims. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji uses the sayings of others, something no other religion has been able to do. And with these traits, there is a perfect justification that the Guru Granth Sahib Ji is undoubtedly fit to lead humanity in a positive and wholesome way. The second question asked of us is, if Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji repeatedly emphasizes that everything is in Waheguru's hands, and that we should accept Waheguru's hukam smilingly and willingly, how at the same time then, when there are many places where the fruits of living as a Gurmukh and the problems of living as a Manmukh are discussed, can we determine whether to live as a Gurmukh or a Manmukh? I believe the answer to that question is one of the teachings in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Ekankar. Ekankar, meaning one God, is one of the central tenets of Sikhism and an important lesson to all. We can determine whether to live as a Gurmukh or Manmukh by simply having faith in Waheguru and faith in our religion. When we have faith, the idealism of Ekankar takes a reality, as there is one God and we are all His creations. And no matter if we are a Gurmukh or a Manmukh, we will always have God as our common Father. By listening to Gurbani and following Gurmukh, the right path will be chosen for us no matter what. And staying faithful and leaving everything to the hands of our one Creator, Waheguru, the choice between Manmukh and Gurmukh will be resolved naturally. The third question presented to us is, as explained in the book, Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji advises us to be good to even those who have been evil to us. How can we justify being good to the ones who have done us harm? Even if we decide not to take revenge, should we at least not teach them a lesson? This question is relevant today just as much as it was during the origins of Sikhism and characterizes what it means to be a Sikh. We should never partake in revenge to ones who have been evil to us, and indulging in acts of such just make us worse than the person who committed the acts of evil. We stoop to their level instead of teaching them the lesson of kindness when we indulge in such acts of vengeance. In Sikh history, this has happened on many occasions. One example would be the martyrdom of Guru Tegh Bahadur, who was wronged by the Mughal ruler Aurangzeb multiple times, but even at death, replied with warmth and belief in Waheguru. If someone is evil to us, teaching them a lesson is not a bad thing, but only if it's in a positive manner and we react to their evil with love, faith, and kindness. Gurbani teaches us how to live a good life, a kind life, and an honest life by remembering God and doing nickname. To conclude, I want to talk about the importance of Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji and its legacy it preserves. The author sums up Shri Guru Granth Sahib with these words: "This holy Granth is the obliterator of all discriminations and promoter of virtue and coexistence. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji is a sublime and holy scripture and is a blessing for humanity. The result of centuries of hard work and the devotion created the rise of the Shri Guru Granth Sahib, and as long as Sikhism remains in this world, the ideologies of the Gurus and the teachings in the Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji will remain constant and guide Sikh generations to come." Thank you. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Jesse Singh. Up next, we have Angad Singh.
Manyog Sad Sangat Ji, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I feel privileged and glad that I have an opportunity to express my views on Gursikhi. Our religion was born about 500 years ago in India, but presently we are spread across the globe, and we lack the knowledge of Sikhi Rehat Maryada due to environmental and global problems. Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is rich with spiritual wisdom and divine knowledge, who was written about 400 years ago. In order to create the sense of universal well-being, Gurbani lays stress on virtue of forgiveness and life based on right sense and method of coexistence. Practicing sincerely allows no distinctions, territorial barriers, or national barriers. Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is also written in the common language, so anyone, rich or poor, is able to read his teachings today. And not only does Guru Granth Sahib Ji show how to be a great Sikh, but he also contains the ways to becoming a true Muslim, Hindu, Jain, and overall human being. Meaning that it is very justifiable that it can affect anyone's way of living, and he is truly universal to all. Gurbani emphasizes being a good Sikh or student as a Gurmukh. Likewise, to sincerely devote to the Almighty. We work hard to achieve our goals in life, which are our goals through exams, which are basically anything we do in life. Our performance on those tests is judged by God, and according to it, He declares our results. It is right to say it is in His hands, and we should accept His marking. In all, we should be good, and we should do good on those tests, but it is easier said than done. But to our luck, we have Gurbani. Even if everything is in God's hands, Guru Granth Sahib's contents lay out the steps in becoming a Gurmukh. You should earn your money in an honest way, or kirat karna. You should sing Shabad and read Gurbani, or Naam Japna. And you should share your earnings with the needy, or Van Chapna. Those rules are also known as the 3 pillars of Sikhism. By following those pillars, you can easily avoid the path to becoming a Manmukh, and you can put yourself onto the path to being considered a Gurmukh in God's eyes. Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji highlights the importance of seeking the good for all and wishing ill to none. According to Gurbani, if someone ever harms you, in return, you should do them good and overlook their fault. Such broad-mindedness brings purity to social dealings. Farida Boreda Palakar, Gussa Manna Handai, De Rog Na Lagi, Pale Sab Kich Pai. A Guru's disciple who loves Gurbani has been taught to not bear any enmity with a bad person, but only to oppose the evil in him. Violence or unkindliness is not the way when responding to someone. And the most powerful way to teach a lesson to someone bad is simply to forgive them. Gurbani is the greatest treasure in life. It literally lays out the steps to having a good one. It teaches us to do what is right and what we, as humans, are supposed to do. If you thought about what the world would look like if everyone had read Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, you would realize that we would be so much better. The Guru is universal to all. He shows us how to be a true disciple of the Guru, and he shows us how to interact with someone bad. In conclusion, Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the ultimate teacher, and I believe no matter who you are, reading him can change your life for the better. Bulchuk Maaf, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। अंगद सिंह का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, इसने अपने विचारों द्वारा संकट को निहाल किया है। इसके नाल ही चौथे ग्रुप सिंपोजियम समाप्त होता है और साढ़े को केवल 4 ही ग्रुप सन। इस तो बाद असी रिजल्ट जड़े हैं 4 ग्रुपों की कंपाइल करना है, उसके वास्ते करीब 15-20 मिनट हो चाहिए। सब तो पहले मैं आप सारे तो हाथ बन के क्षमा मांगदा कि असी लेट हो गए हैं, लेकिन सारे बच्चों को टाइम देना भी बहुत ज़रूरी सी और जिन्ने बच्चे पार्टिसिपेट किए हैं उन्होंने सारे ने बड़ी मेहनत करके उन्होंने मेंटर्स ने बड़े प्यार नाल तैयार करवाए स्पीचां, सो उन्होंने सारे का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है। सो असी 15-20 मिनट कंपाइल करने में लगणगे, जज साहिबान सारे इकट्ठे छोटे कमरे हो जाएंगे। इन बिटवीन आप सारे गुरबाणी कीर्तन का आनंद माणो। रूपिका कौर को बेनती करते हैं कि 2 शब्द, एक आप पढ़न और एक किसी और सज्जन जिसने शब्द पढ़ने हों उसको पढ़वा के उस तो बाद असी जब आ जाइए कि रिजल्ट्स आप सारे अनाउंस करांगे तो ट्रॉफीज बच्चों को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करें। एनी बेनती प्रवान करनी जी। वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। सारे की हौसला